Cold calling is an activity in sales where reps reach out to potential customers who haven't expressed any interest in the preferred products or services. Cold calling techniques refer to solicitation of a prospect through different channels, by telephone or in person, without having had any prior contact with the salesperson. Now, it's a massive challenge to deliver a sales pitch to someone who's never heard about you or your product offerings. In this presentation, I'm going to explain why cold calling has stood the test of time, along with my most actionable cold calling tips and techniques to help you improve your win rates. And look, I get it. You hate cold calling. Everybody does. Everybody, that is, except the salespeople using it to generate millions of dollars in actual sales today. Now, the definition of cold calling is contacting a suspect or a prospect who currently isn't raising their hand at the moment. So even if you called your best clients and asked for referrals, well, guess what? When you call that referral, it's still a cold call because that prospect wasn't raising their hand nor asked to be contacted, nor was expecting your call. It's still an interruption. And you know what? That's okay. A salesperson shouldn't base the prospect's temperature on how much they know about the prospect, but rather how much the prospect knows and has interest in the product or service a salesperson is selling. The cold call is often the first point of contact and your opportunity to build connection to acquire information you need so you are fully armed for your next and most influential warm call. A warm call is when, for example, a lead form gets filled out on a website and your prospect has some level of interest. Whereas a hot lead is when there's an inbound call and a prospect says, I spoke to so-and-so and they bought your system and I want one too. With all this negativity, it's hard to see cold calling is even worth considering. And that's exactly why cold calling can be so effective for you. Tip number 1, if you don't ask, it's already a no. Thing is, you really do need to probably embrace rejection and not run from it. Rejection is a necessary part of all sales activity, from prospecting through to the close, inbound and outbound. I mean, nobody closes 100% of their prospects. So you could try something like this. I appreciate your honesty. The hardest thing about my job is not knowing whether we can help someone. For my own edification, do you mind telling me why you don't think we can help you? Don't try to sell to them. Just learn. One of my sales reps was highly successful, and he had a little quote that he said he never drove past a sale, meaning that he would cold call on every business that he thought was relevant to his target market. And it was already, if he hadn't, he always believed it was already a no. Secondly, the person on the other end of the phone is just like you. And that's a really good point, because the business you're targeting quite likely has people doing exactly what you're doing and trying to target their customers as well. And what I want you to think about here is set your sights on immediate learning and not immediate sales. You know cold calling can't be mastered overnight. So set a goal to learn something in every conversation with a prospect, whether that is good or bad. So setting your expectations correctly and constantly learning as you go will put you years ahead of the average salesperson. Number 3, if they're too busy to speak, arrange for another time. So we don't want to be wasting anybody's time, and that's including your own. The burden is on you to build the most targeted list of people to contact, so you're not wasting time on every call figuring out whether or not you can help the person who's picked it up. You're going to get rejected a lot less if you're smart about who you reach out to. Be sure that you are only adding companies and contacts to your prospect list that you believe that you can help. If you call prospects with no particular schedule from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day, you're missing an opportunity. By keeping track of when prospects are more likely to answer the phone and when they're more likely to speak to you, you can better focus your efforts during times that will make a bigger impact. Now, a hint is that sometimes Wednesdays and Thursdays are the best days. It depends on the industry. And it's the best day maybe to have a conversation And just remember that other people have heard that too, so you'll find what works best for you. Number 4, the higher up the chain, the nicer they are. Now, this is something that I discovered when I went from a sales rep role into a general manager's role, is that even in that role for me, I had more time to listen to people who were bringing things to me, and it made sense for me to listen to them as well, because they often had products or services that improved the way that we did business. And this is what you'll find as well, is when you actually get to the heart of the matter and know how you can service that person a lot better and how your products will help a business, then as you speak to a person who is making those decisions, then they're more likely to listen to you as well. Number 5, if you don't know something about your product, don't panic. I've seen, and might be my experience, I've had reps come and speak to me and then they've forgotten something about the product, and it has. You can see the whole demeanor change from a confident approach to then going inward a lot more and worrying about their product and what they don't know. The thing here is don't lie, of course, and just really be honest and tell people that you don't know something about the product, but you will get back and you will find that information out. And it creates a wonderful opportunity to get back in front of those people again. This is important when you're doing a cold call, is to be prepared and mentally present as well. If you set aside a time to do your calls and really get yourself into a space where you're feeling very positive, then you are going to have a lot more success. Keeping in mind that not everybody is successful 100% of the time. And the thing is, on average, cold calls result in a voicemail about 90% of the time. And that's one of the things where people then get into a bit of a panic, is what can they say in the voicemail? And there's a couple of things that you could do. Is leave a voicemail that's going to get the prospect's attention. It could be something like, I've solved the problems that you face for others, and I believe I can do it for you. I've got something urgent to speak to you about. Like, I'm highly recommended by someone that you trust. And also, when you're leaving your messages, make sure that you've got something planned to say as well. And there's a couple of things to keep important. Keep it to under 20 seconds. Keep it upbeat and friendly. Do insert some sort of sense of urgency, and do use your prospect's name and your name as well. Do not try and sell in a voicemail, ever. Do not sound desperate by telling them about a deal or a special offer or a discount. And do not leave a voicemail only once. A lot of people don't listen to their voicemails, so you may need to go back and repeat that again. And finally, number 7 is keep it in perspective. It is not life or death. It is a way of learning about how you can help people and building better connections. And if you keep it in that learning mindset, then you're going to have a lot more success with it, and you're going to have cause a lot less sense of fear within yourself, and also that sense of feeling rejected. Keep it all in perspective, and remember, embrace rejection, don't run from it. Focus on immediate learning, not on immediate sales. Don't waste anyone's time, including your own. Find a calling schedule that works for you and your prospects. Make the right ask and set proper next steps. Learn to leave effective voicemails. Live at the intersection of quality and quantity. And importantly, keep it in perspective. Cold calling is not a waste of time. Stop listening to so-called experts and get out there and use these tips. If you're looking to find out how you can increase and improve sales in your business or with your sales team, then please book in your free 20-minute business analysis call at janeenvosper.com. Look forward to speaking.